Hey y'all, it's your girl Millie Chan. Y'all, this is day 27 of the U.S. versus Diddy Combs. And we're just going to get right into it. So on day 27, we're finally going to get a chance to hear from Brendan Hall. He was the drug mule that got arrested in Miami. And I think now he has immunity and people feel like he about to spill the beans, child. So child, the AUSA takes a binder to the judge's stand. All rise, the jurors enter. You may call your next witness. AUSA says the government calls Brendan Paul. So they show him a picture of Diddy. He recognizes him as Sean Combs, and he said he worked for him until he was arrested in Florida with possession in his bag. They asked him why. He said he was sweeping the room for Sean Combs. Child, so we found out that he came to work for Diddy through Revolt, right? Ellie Moran. And he told me, get in to get out. If you have a girlfriend, break up with her. You'll never see her. He did interview in late October, and they give the address where he interviewed. Then the AUSA was like, how were you greeted there? He said, my ID was scanned, and I had to sign an NDA. Frankie Santella and Christian Coram was there. KK, did they hire you? He said, yes, I would pack a lot of joints in the garage, and you know where joints are. So then they asked him, when did he meet Mr. Combs? He said that KK had told him to come to a listening party in the backyard. And what was KK doing? She was the chief of staff, helped out with the family. And then the AUSA was like, did KK use Mr. Combs' phone? He said yes. And then the AUSA, how many assistants did Mr. Combs have? Brendan said at first 5, then 4, then 2. Given my college basketball background, I helped Mr. Combs with workouts. And then they said, who is this? This is Jonathan Perez. And this is Butler Frank Rodriguez. Hold on. So then they asked, what did Mr. Combs' butler do? Pretty much like Farnsworth Bentley. He gave him like chapstick, water, or whatever he needed. Did you have group chats with KK? He said yes. They flipped through a binder. Then they asked, who is this? Brendan said, this is Fahim. We call him Fa. What was his salary? Y'all, Fa's salary was $75,000 a year, then $100,000. Brendan said he got paid bi-weekly by Combs Enterprises. Where did you live? He said in an Airbnb in Miami. Then he was asked, like, where did KK stay? In LA, in an apartment, in Miami, in Two-Star Island. Then they asked him, did he accompany Puffy to paid club appearances? He said yes, and Puffy would ask for $150,000, and people would have to sell things for Puff. So then they was asking him, like, what did you do to stay awake? He told us what he took to stay awake, and he told us that his job was to make Diddy happy. You know, he'd say, I don't take no for an answer. He told us to move like the SEAL Team 6. Then he was asked, had he ever been fired? He said, yes. He said he had forgot Diddy's Lululemon fanny pack when he went on his walks. Diddy say he wanted to see his face no more and go tell KK he was fired. So they asked, what did he do? He said he went and bought another fanny pack and he laid low for a while. And then the AUSA said, did you ever complain to HR? He said, no, that wasn't a thing. Why not? HR even forgot to pull my federal taxes my first 8 months. You just go to Mr. Combs. Child, they just doing stuff under the table. So in this right here, they're just basically asking Brendan, like, what kind of drugs did Puffy use? Where did he get them from? Who did he get them from? What type were they? Did he buy them for him? And at the bottom right here, the AUSA was like, is this your chat with baby girl? What is happening? He said, Jonathan Perez is introducing me to baby girl. She asked me if it was for you or Puff. He said, I replied, Puff, but say it's for me because he's high profile and we need to use aliases. Child, then at the top was cut off. They asked Brendan, did Mr. Combs use Cialis? He said, yes, we put it in his nightstand. Your message to Love Red Phone, what does it mean? I called Puff Love. His red phone was personal. The business phone was yellow. What did he text you? Xans. How did you pay for the drugs and stuff? Brendan said cash from the Gucci bag or security, usually Fahim. In this text, what is flowers? Child, the wacky tobacco. Did you also call it tree? Yes. Here, Fahim tells me I'll get back paid once Duke comes on shift. Who the heck is Duke? Then they asked, did Puff have him to intake these medications? Brendan said yes, to test his 2C. Did you want to take it? He said, I wanted to prove my loyalty. What were king nights? Mr. Combs and significant other drugs and bang bang. Then they were asking him if Puff other girlfriends took a part in the Wild King nights. He said, not that I'm aware of. Who called them Wild King nights? He said, KK. I just say he's going to hotels. So he was a little more, calmer down low. He wasn't just outlandish like everybody else. Then the AUSA was like, did Mr. Combs stop using hotels and move them to residences? He said, yes, after the Cassie lawsuit. What did you do? He said he cleaned up after. What does this say? That Jane is coming in. Brendan is setting up Wild King night probably. Where did you make the reservation? Brendan said, no, boo. Where was the Wild King nights? Jane's residence. I wrote running to Walmart for them. KK asks, Wild Night Mode active or Gucci bag active? What did you say between the two? So, child, they done fooled around here and messed up all the hotels. So now they going to people's houses. Now, the way Diddy has been going back and forth with Jane, we all feel like he really don't see it like that for her. So he probably don't even care what her house look like, and he paying for it. So, child, I didn't know it was a way to lay out Astroglide. Like, Brenda would send the property manager a photo of how Diddy wanted it laid out. And Diddy would contact him through voice notes or FaceTime if he needed anything. And then Brenda said Diddy would call him to get outfits for the night. He would clean up after. They asked him why. He said for sanitary reasons, right? And then they showed him a photo of the day that he was arrested on the rented jet. So when he was asked, was that Mr. Combs' stuff you was arrested with or yours? Honey Brian still said objection. Judge said sustain. AUSA said, was it yours? Paul said no. AUSA said, was it Mr. Combs? Objection. Overruled. He had to answer. It was Diddy's, right? And then the AUSA was like, what did you do after the arrest? He said he had gone into a diversion program. And then the AUSA said no further questions. The judge said cross, so Brian Steele comes up. You walked up to play basketball at Syracuse for an iconic coach. He said yes. You played, but COVID ended it, right? He said yes. Child, they got a problem with these words. So Brian Steele was like, you weren't just a drug mule, were you? Objection, overruled. He said, I was not just that. It was a minor part of what you did. Absolutely. Personal use, judge said rephrase. So Steele goes, the hotel nights were personal. AUSA objection, judge rephrase. Steele said, it was Mr. Combs and Jane's relaxation personal, right? From your observation. Brendan said yes. Did you see Jane as hesitant? He said, I did not. Child, they did some more objecting and some more sustainedness, and let's keep going. So they asked him, like, if you knew that he was a criminal, you wouldn't work for him, right? The AUSA objected. The judge said sustain. And then Brian was like, you would not work for a criminal, would you? Brendan said no. And Steele said, you care about your reputation. He said yes. And then Steele was like, you were arrested for 27 grams, barely personal use. It was a mistake, right? Brendan said yes. And then Steele was like, and the case was dismissed. He said yes. Did that make Sean more focused? He said he got extremely creative. And then Steele asks, as you sit here, are you indebted to Sean Combs? He was like, good experiences for the most part, no further questions. There was a sidebar. The judge said yes. So this was a mess. They asked Brenda, did he know about the Wild King nights? That was an objection. Judge said rephrase. AUSA said, were you there? Brendan said no. AUSA said, what did you think the $5,000 was for? There was an objection. The judge said sustain. Then the AUSA said, did you give Mr. Combs $5,000 in cash? Brendan said no. And the AUSA was like, you said you wouldn't work for a criminal, but you brought drugs for him. He said, yes, more than 5 times, less than 10. And then the AUSA said, how did you feel about Mr. Combs? Brendan said it's complicated. The AUSA said no further questions. Steele said no recross. The judge said, thank you. You may go, Mr. Paul. And Brendan leaves. They have been waiting for this man to get on the stand, and it's over for him. We'll get into some more later. It's your girl, Millie Chun. I'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all.